Hi everyone, thank you so much for happening. It's another day. If it's your first time seeing me, my name is Rand Samanyema. I'm a radiography medical student based in Nigeria, my third year. And apart from my medical studies, I'm also a freelance medical content writer. And I write a lot of medical articles, medical blog content, educational blog content, and work with pharmaceutical healthcare companies, and I work with personal clients as well. So, in a nutshell, I have an amazing guest speaker. Hey, Rachel, could you introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, I'm Rachel Honeyman. I run a small branding and web design agency called Honeyman Creative. And what I focus on is helping small businesses and startups build values-based brands that really help their magic shine through. And then I build websites that really bring that to life.
Amazing intro. So, are you ready for the five questions we have?
Yeah.
All right. So even looking downwards, right? I'm reading the questions to Rachel. So you will not be wondering what's Ransom looking downwards for. So the first question goes this way. You ready? So what inspired you to combine your creative design skills with your passion for being a martial artist? Tell me.
Okay, so this is a great question. So to give everyone a little context, I'm been a martial artist for a little over 8 years. I teach women self-defense, and I this was such a great question because the honest answer is that I actually haven't quite figured out how to combine these two passions of mine, branding, web design, and martial arts. It's something that I would really love to find a way to combine, but certainly my experience as a martial artist has a huge impact on every part of my life, including how I run my business and how I approach branding and content and everything like that. But ideally, I would love to, maybe work with more companies that are in this space of martial arts or self-defense. I have launched my own women's self-defense training program that I'm kind of working on driving more traffic to. So it's something that I'm like always thinking about, but I haven't quite found the best way to combine those yet.
So what experience do you have? How many years of experience do you have in your creative designer skills?
Yeah, so I've been in the content marketing space for over 15 years.
Well,
And yeah, it's been a journey. So I've been really I've really worn every hat there is to wear in the content marketing space. And I spent I had a couple of roles where I was a one-woman marketing team at a couple of different companies, which means that I had to really learn a lot of different skills, a pretty broad skill set. So I officially went out on my own, opened my company a little over a year ago. But I really have gained experience in SEO, UX, user flow, marketing, kind of all of those pieces. And then obviously branding is a huge piece that kind of runs through all of that. And then I also gained some technical web skills along the way as well. And that's kind of how I combined all of that in the brand strategy and web design arena.
amazing, amazing. So I'm a bit curious about your martial art skills. How do you get paid in that those kind of work you do?
So I really barely get paid for my martial arts work. I'm a practitioner. I do teach women's self-defense, so obviously I get paid by my students. But mostly I practice. I'm mostly on the student side. I'd love to do more of the teaching, but my my main income is my branding and web design company.
Okay, so you teach them for free. Why?
Oh no, I don't teach them for free. I do charge my students, but it's not a significant part of my income, is what I mean.
Yeah, I was wondering if you do that for free. You know, that's
No,
a
no,
whole lot. All
no. I do charge my students.
right, thank you so much for sharing your narratives and how you combine your martial art skills with your creative designer skills, and that's an amazing stuff. Thank you so much.
Sure.
So we are heading over to the second question. Are you ready? How do you feel about the second question? On a
Yeah,
scale of five,
yeah.
already.
I have a lot to say on the second question. So.
All right, amazing. And the audience are hopeful, waiting for your narratives on those questions. So can you share a memory of how your martial arts training influenced your approach to small business? We
Yeah,
have some.
this is a great question. So I think it's less about a specific memory and just more about how my training has really shaped me as a person and as a business owner. The kinds of martial arts that I do, so I'll give a little bit of context. I primarily practice something called Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, which is a grappling sport. And I also do a little bit of Jeet Kune Do, Filipino martial arts, and Muay Thai. So there's pretty well-rounded training, a lot of stand-up weapons work, really kind of runs the gamut. And everything I do is with an emphasis on self-defense. So as I mentioned, I teach women self-defense, but that's really how I approach all of my training. And this type of training really has a way of challenging me to be like perpetually out of my comfort zone. Like there is no room for being in your comfort zone if you're thinking about in your training. Like I am practicing this in case, God forbid, someone attacks me, right? That's always the mindset. So it really challenges me to be outside of my comfort zone, and it's emotional. It can be emotionally and physically taxing. But I really push through that because there's kind of this bigger purpose to what I'm doing. So I think that mindset has been immensely beneficial in how I approach my business as well. Because the nature of running a small business is you have to weather the ups and downs. There's a lot of really difficult times. It can be really emotionally taxing as well. It can be physically taxing if you're just working long hours, right? And you have to learn from your mistakes and all of that. And my approach to branding is also very, as I mentioned, very values based. So there's kind of always that similar shared mindset of like pushing through those difficult times because there's a deeper purpose behind what I'm doing. And so I think that it really has shaped kind of how I approach my business. It's not really a specific memory, but more kind of just generally how it affects how I approach business.
So I'm kind of there's a question that came to my mind right now, and I believe that you're gonna laugh about it. So your husband being a healthcare professional, do you teach him things about martial arts stuff so that if the patient wants to fight him, he has a backup plan? Do you?
So as I mentioned, I told you before we started recording, but my husband actually doesn't see patients anymore, so it's less of a concern. But
Yeah.
I have tried to teach him martial arts. He's actually very naturally good at it, but doesn't
Oh, okay.
it's not something he loves, and I love it. So it's he does his own thing. I do this, but it's definitely I think it's important for everyone to know how to defend themselves.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your narrative on that.
Sure.
So we have three more questions to go for you.
Hmm.
Are you ready for the third question?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So how do you wait before I go to this third question? I'm a bit curious about a question for you before I ask this third question. How did you get the zeal to move into martial art in the first place?
Yeah, so what really influenced me to start was unfortunately I had an experience that really scared me. nothing terrible happened, but I was followed back to my car I was unloading groceries in my car, and a man followed me back to my car and cornered me. Thank God nothing actually happened. Um, and I was able to get out of that situation, but it really kind of like woke me up to the fact that like if he had been intending to actually hurt me, I would have had no clue how to protect myself. And so I immediately went home. I reached out to my very good friend who has been doing martial arts for like his whole life, and asked him where to start. And he said, start with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I did very shortly thereafter.
I knew something was fishy. That's why I asked that question, because you can't just develop that interest just to move into martial for nothing. Because
Yeah.
my mind was telling me that there was something behind it, behind the scenes.
I
Wow,
think
that was a
I think that's true. I think that's true for most people who start martial arts. There's usually some reason why.
hmm.
There's something that awakens that recognition that like they're they need to know how to defend themselves. So yeah.
If that experience you had a few years ago before you moved into martial art right now, if that happens again, I believe that you can defend yourself.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously I don't know, no one can ever say with absolute certainty that they can, but I feel definitely much more confident that I would be able to, for sure.
Amazing. It's good. It's good that you're confident in yourself. That's amazing. So
Thank you.
that draws me back to my question I have for you. So how do you incorporate elements of oh my goodness, magician? You know, talk about that majorly because that made me a little bit speechless. How do you incorporate elements of magician hmm, in your marketing skills, and how does the skill affect the business you work with?
Sure. Yeah. So I've really built my brand around this idea of magic. It really is like part of everything, everything I do. Like just as an example, I start all of my projects with what I call my brand magic potion, which is a deep dive into really understanding the brand values and kind of what's underneath why this company exists and who they exist to help. And then I build a brand strategy kind of from that conversation. Excuse me. So I call it my brand magic potion. If someone decides that they want to, build a website with me, I call that my Phoenix rebrand because it's, we do a full rebrand and a website redesign. So there's really this kind of like sense of magic through everything that I do. Part of that is just that I'm a huge Harry Potter nerd. So that just kind of like comes through. But I actually really think that I really built my brand around this because I believe very strongly that we all have this kind of like inner magic in us, like something special and unique, and something that's really that allows us to create a very magnetic brand. So that is really important to me, and really kind of what emerges from that in terms of who I work with is I tend to work with companies, I tend to attract companies, and which works out well because I like to work with these types of companies, is companies that are more, values based, right? Inherently doing something that's more mission driven, like I'm not necessarily the best fit for someone who manufactures a specific type of drill bit, right? There's a need for that. His customers need that. But is there like a deeper mission behind it? Probably not. So, there's most of the companies that I work with do exist for kind of a deeper mission. And then that allows us to do this like deep values work that really brings that kind of sense of magic forward.
Wow, that's amazing. So there are freelancers and entrepreneurs doing watch this video. And that word you mentioned about attracting your clients, attracting your brands, it's kind of like a marketing strategy. And it's kind of like so amazing because people, as a freelancer, me as a freelance medical content writer, I had a guest speaker and we talked about the two major challenges with the freelancers face. I'm still working on that project. And the first two we talked about was clients' money for the mentor. This two is one of the major challenges we the freelancers face. The monetary aspect and getting clients. So do you have a master class that people, especially freelancers that are looking for? Do you know Kathleen Afford on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I follow her on LinkedIn. Yeah, we're connected.
Yeah, so you see the kind of work she do. She always shares. She has a newsletter where she posts, and freelancing opportunities for freelancers. And because she noticed that a lot of layoff, you know, and people not really getting the clients they needed. So, do you have a master class that can help freelancers out there to help to attract the desired clients they need, in their work?
Um, Not exactly. I just started offering a monthly workshop. I just gave it last week, so it's coming up in a few weeks. But a monthly workshop where I basically am walking through the kind of part of my process, the most essential part of my process in kind of defining that brand. And this is really helpful whether someone is building a company brand. I have people that are building like a bigger company, or if they're a solopreneur or a freelancer or something like that and they're trying to build a personal brand. So I'm happy to share the link to that, so that people can sign up for my next workshop when it's coming up. But I think that can be I think that the building a very strong personal brand or company brand is such an essential piece of attracting the right kinds of clients, and attracting and kind of filling those two challenges that you mentioned of like getting enough clients and getting the right clients who are going to pay enough money, right? You need both of those, and in order to do that you need this like foundational really strong brand.
Amazing. So we're gonna add the link, on the YouTube description below for people to as well sign up if they're interested. So thank you so much for sharing that,
Sure.
Rachel. Um, the fourth question goes this way: what do you think are the key elements of a successful brand that takes small businesses to the next level of growth? So tell me, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so this will be like a spoiler alert if anyone does want to sign up for the workshop. This is something we worked through together, but really it's to me the most important thing is defining your who, what, where, why, and how, right? Who are you talking to? What do you do, and what do you stand for? Like, what are your values? um, where are you reaching your audience? Why do you exist? And then how are you bringing that to life through your visual branding and your messaging? We tend to focus more on the how, right? Like, how does it look and how do I sound? And we focus on the visuals and the messaging. And really, I think the most important piece is focusing on the why, and really kind of figuring out why you exist doing what you do. And that is I think what lays the foundation for building a brand that is unique, because what you do, there could be 1,000 other people who do what you do, right? I'm not the only person who does brand strategy and web design. There are a million people who do this. But what is it that helps me stand apart is why I do it and who I am. And that's the piece that no one can take from you, right? That's what makes you unique. So I think that's really the most important piece.
I think this is the reason why one of the major reasons why people should sign up for that workshop you're running currently. And so that if you're, a freelancer or an entrepreneur in general that has a small business and you want to like grow your business or something, stand out before, you know, there are chances that that business you're running, there are thousands of people doing the same thing, like you said. So if you want to like stand out before, stand out amongst those people, you need to follow this strategy and then sign up for Rachel's workshop, to follow her strategies to, make your small, take your small businesses to a whole nother level of growth. So thank you so much for sharing that, Rachel.
Sure.
So hold on. Is it people only in the United States that can sign up for your workshop?
No, anyone can sign up. Yeah, the workshop for sure, anyone can sign up. But even in my work, I work with people internationally.
Okay, all right, amazing. So people from Russia could also sign up for your workshop,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
even from my country, Nigeria, right?
Yeah,
Okay. Have you worked with a Nigerian before?
I have not had the chance to. No.
Okay, hopefully you will do.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So we have the last question, Rachel. How do you feel about the last question?
Good, good.
So can you tell us a case study where you used the best strategy to turn a struggling small businesses out there into a successful one? So tell us. We're
Yeah,
here.
yeah. So I have a couple of examples. Obviously I have a bunch of examples, but I'll just give one. Recent one would be a solopreneur who I was working with. She's a mental health professional, and she actually had been running her business for like 20, 25 years. Really a long-standing business, but she really had struggled to kind of build a consistent client base over that time. And she really could not, in our initial conversation, she had no idea how to talk about like who she was, what she did. She was all over the place and really feeling very kind of torn and had no clear brand at all. So I really worked with her to develop a clear brand that was based on her brand values and what she believes in and why she's doing what she's doing and what makes her unique, and built her a visual brand, the messaging framework, all of those pieces, built her a beautiful new website that really created this consistent brand experience. We wound up actually doing also a 3-month social media campaign, really started building up her presence online, drawing that consistent brand throughout. So it's still early days to say like what her results are. We're actually still in the we're in the midst of the second month of the social media campaign, so it's still kind of underway. But she now feels so much more confident to talk about her brand, to talk about what it is she does, and to present herself to potential clients. And I think that I'm very confident that she's going to see tremendous results from that. A little bit of an older example would be another woman that I worked with who actually came to me before she launched her company, which is a pretty common place for people to come to me when they're like getting ready to launch, but they don't have their brand figured out. They don't have a website. They don't have those pieces in place. So I really, helped her like build it from scratch. And she actually just recently told me she's, she's like that was probably about a year ago that we launched her website. And she recently told me that she's hired a bunch of people and she's business is going well and she's bringing in, the right kinds of clients and all of that. So it's really rewarding to see that, like when someone has a vision and I'm able to help them bring that vision to life and really reach the right customers.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing those case studies of your past clients and your new one you're currently working on. Thank you so much for that. So, Rachel, you've been an amazing guest speaker thus far, and I believe that the audience greatly adore all your amazing narratives and these questions and asked you. And we've come to the end of the session. And so, before we wrap up the session, what are your last words for the audience?
I think I would just say, like, don't underestimate how powerful having a strong brand can be. Anyone and everyone can have a brand. You don't have to be a celebrity or a corporation or anything like that to build a strong brand, and it's really essential for reaching the people that you want to reach.
Amazing. Thank you, everyone, for watching. If you love this content, do well to like, comment, subscribe, and share to your network. Hopefully, someone in your network will definitely love this video. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Rachel. Thank you.
Thank you.